PW Hustle Networks present PWR at the Movies. Join the Professor, Tommy Wonder, and JB as they discuss the greatest pro wrestling moments in movie history.
When it comes to intergalactic confrontation, no one can beat Shep Ramsey.
Excellent work, Ramsey.
So what's next?
Why don't you try relaxing?
But now he's about to land in a place even he isn't prepared for. Suburbia.
Get to know the locals. Blend in.
How do you know which ones are the right ones?
You have to squeeze it a bit.
Wow, I found a good one.
Here, they have strange ways of fighting.
You got any idea what we're gonna do to you?
Let me guess. You're gonna pound my face.
What are you, nuts? This is the 90s. We're gonna sue you.
They have bizarre means of protection.
Stand back. You are too close. Back off now. No, please, wait. Let's talk about this. No.
There are dangers he's never seen.
My mom could stay on longer than that.
And enemies he's never known.
I hate Suburbia.
So you'd better not fake him out.
Must be a K7 force field. I'll break you out of there. Glad I could help.
Or take him on. For Hulk Hogan, it's no game. It's war.
Do you belong to some kind of army? Or do you just go around doing good like some kind of superhero?
Hulk Hogan, Christopher Lloyd.
I was frozen today.
Suburban Commando.
My cat. My cat. That's not my cat.
Oh.
Blue sky, plenty of sunshine. Take a stroll down by the bay. Where else could there ever be such a sensational hideaway? And now's the time for a little vacation to clear the mind. And now, like heaven on earth, simple but oh so nice. It's almost like paradise. Take this beautiful moment.
What is going on there, Reflectionites? What is going on there to the Magnificent 7, the Elite 8, the Naughty 9, the Terrific 10, the Essential 11? What's going on to the big Vitoites out there? What's going on to PWCites? Jimmy T in Australia, Chris Hambones. What's going on? Shout outs to the Hammerlock Hangover, Jeff Lipton, Steve Pena. Shout outs to my brothers, 8-Track Brown. And of course, Billy Ray Valentine. Shout outs to Nuts and Bolts, Pastor Travis Bolts. You know why I'm in a giving mood? Why I'm in a mood to shout out a lot of people? Because we are all a community. We are all family. We are all brothers and sisters, mothers and daughters and sons and all that shit. But anyway, neither here nor there. I'm feeling good because you know why? It is the month of November. It is Thanksgiving month. You know, some people say it's Survivor Series month. Neither here nor there, but it's the month to be thankful, and it is also in November the month of elections. You know, I don't care about that. I'm an independent. I have denounced the Democratic Party. I have denounced the Republican Party. I am joining the Vulcan Party. I am going with Spock. Live long and prosper. If you don't follow that moniker, then fuck you. Do not vote for anybody else. I don't care. Vulcans 2024 for president. But anyway, neither here nor there.
Sure you're not a liberal?
No, I am not a liberal.
That's a liberal mentality.
I am an independent. I'm an independent. Don't worry about that. But anyway, welcome back to the PWR podcast here at the PWR Networks at podbean.com. And if you're lucky enough to see this on the YouTubes, it's on the PWR Networks. Hopefully this will be up on the PWC network and all that good stuff here. Welcome. We got all that candy from Halloween. Me and TW cleaned up. I dressed up as Two-Face. I was Joe Biden on one side and I was Donald Trump on the other side. I got a lot of Kit Kats. I got Reese's Pieces. I got Hershey's Kisses. I'm overloaded with chocolate. And TW, he was Macho Man Randy Savage. He was Ric Flair. He was all this stuff. He was also one of those gay porn actors too. He was trick-or-treating. He cleaned up. He got baby oil. He got some enemas drills or something. He got
all from your house.
Not from my house. I think it was from Travis's house, but neither here nor there. That's why he's the pastor now. Woo-hoo, praise the Lord. But anyway, neither here nor there. But anyway, we cleaned up and I figured, let's eat all this good candy while watching I can't say it's a great movie, an infamous movie back in the 1990s. Actually, October of 1991. But it is PWR the movies here at the PWR Networks at Podbean.com, and we will talk about that movie in just a bit. But first, I got to introduce myself because maybe some Reflectionites, there's some new Reflectionites out there. There's some new Magnificent Seven members out there that don't know who this voice is, that don't know who this pretty face is. I am the studious one. I am the magnanimous one, but most importantly, I am the glorious one. The only objective man in the IWC, YWC, the only objective man in this podcast punditry. Your friend of mine, Mr. Vulcan himself, Professor Chababa Cruz. And I'm not here alone. I don't want to be at the movies alone. I don't want to be watching this movie on a 50-inch plasma with all the coke and all the Greenpeace stuff. I got to have my man, Mr. Dum Dum doing an idiot himself. I got to have the man by my side, Mr. Iron Stomach one. He's eating candies. He eats crap. He never throws up. I give you that. He's eating pretzel rods right now. See, I told you he cleaned up. He is your friend of mine, the conservative liberal, the liberal conservative, the man who has recorded Let's Go Brandon on his iTunes. I don't know if he has it, but he is your friend of mine, Mr. Wonderful Tommy Strong, a.k.a. the Tommy Wonder. Welcome back, my friend. I missed you, man. I missed you at Halloween, but we're going to enjoy this movie. What's up with you?
You know I missed you too when I got sick and still am sitting here doing this podcast with you. And not only did I not get mad at you for this movie, I bought it. And I started telling you why. Because it was going to be $4 to rent it or $8.99 to buy it. And I was like, well, I'm going to fall asleep at least twice. So if I rent it, I might miss the window. So I bought it. But no good deed goes unpunished for once doesn't happen because I got a $2 credit from Amazon for doing a survey. So I actually only paid $6.99 for it, which means I would have rented it for $2.99. But either way, I'm going to watch it twice just to give credence to the actual fact that I purchased it. For one, I did not hate it. For two, for certain, I had never seen it before. And for three, I used to think Hulk Hogan and Christopher Lloyd looked alike. Like, literally, like, they should somehow be related. And to watch them in this movie, I don't think they look alike at all. But it probably has something to do with the fact that Hogan is 1,700 feet taller than him. It's so weird, the opening scene where he's walking down the street in his gear, and everyone's looking at him and just tiny. No, I'm just talking about how huge Hogan looks. But
I know, but I didn't even tell the Reflectionites. What are we doing here? What are we what movies we're going to be doing?
Told you
well, of course. But anyway, see, I had to call him. Reflectionites. I was going to text him and say, stop it. I got to do the introductions. I got to do the formats. We got a way to do things here at the PWR Networks at Podbean.com. The audio-visual department, I got to fire them because I gave him notes. I gave TW notes. I know he's got COVID, but he's getting over that. He's getting over that hump. But neither here nor there. We are doing PWR at the movies, and we are doing the infamous movie Suburban Commando, starring Hulk Hogan and, of course, co-starring Christopher Lloyd. This came out October 1991, TW. And now go on your diatribe with Hulk Hogan and Christopher Lloyd because before we...
Well, no, I was not. I was just talking about just how I wasn't feeling good. But in the 2 weeks since we've done a show, I did something I never do. I opened up some of my Elite Wrestling figures, WWE, because it had a Build-A-Figure. Do you recognize him?
That is Paul Ellering, the AOP.
Yes.
Paul Ellering.
Yes. So I had to open up China, Shawn Michaels, Edge, and Greenberg to get the parts out. and then I was able to close the packages back up. So you really can't even tell that it's missing the little pieces. I left Rocco inside of China's package, so he's still there because I didn't want Rocco involved in my Hall of Fame. But I also, today...
Wait, they got a Rocco in the box?
Rocco comes with Paul Ellering because you can get him with a bald head or you can get him with hair. There's another head in the other package. But some of them, I don't even think I took anything out of Goldberg's package. I got everything I needed out of Shawn, China, and Edge. But anyway, they got a new line coming out.
He said Goldberg's package.
AJ, Hogan, Shawn, and Bret. But it's my least favorite Bret Hart of all time. I call him handicap Bret Hart, post-stroke Bret Hart. They've already made a terrible figure of him where he's wearing the jean shorts and the Hart Foundation shirt. You know, when Shawn Michaels super kicked him.
The 2010, the 2010.
Where he wrestled Vince McMahon.
Yeah, that was 2010.
Gray hair. He doesn't wet it anymore. So there's another version of that coming out. But if you open the packages up, the Shawn is sweet. It's the Heaven or Hell match Shawn. So I'm going to probably buy it. The Hogan's okay, but there's 2 other Hogans coming out, so I don't necessarily need it. The AJ is in the Boneyard match gear where he's wearing jeans and he's got the leather vest and shirt on. So it's not terrible. But you get to make Vince McMahon if you buy those. So I'm going to probably buy all those, make the Vince McMahon, and then sell those figures on eBay without the Vince McMahon in it. Because otherwise I'd pay $100 and some just for Vince on eBay. However, that's not why. Oh, my kids call me on accident. So I have to tell you this. I know we're doing Go to the Movies. We're doing a Hulk Hogan movie. We're doing a 1990 Wonder movie. But we haven't talked wrestling in 2 weeks. And I just want to say I am a man out of wrestling promotion. I have not even seen Halloween Havoc yet. This is how lost I am. I tried for weeks watching AEW. I recorded Dynamite. I recorded Rampage. I even started recording SmackDown, Raw, and NXT. I probably got about 15 hours of all of them on my DVR that I'm not going to watch because I'm so bored to death. But I saw this tweet sent to me by a friend of mine, and I thought you would get a kick out of it. And sadly, this is a man I have no respect for, but I agree with him 1,000%. So,
Richard Marks?
No. This is wrestling.
Oh, okay.
Adam Cole tweets out, I've had a great 13-year career. I'm 32 years old. The scary part is I'm not even in my prime yet. Not scary for me. Scary for you. Hashtag Adam Cole, baby. I can't even say he's my favorite wrestler anymore because I don't have one. But he was. And in response to that, and I'm going to read it, and I want you to guess who wrote this.
Okay.
Ready? Sad to say, Adam, you should have tweeted this before you left the big time and joined the Lollipop Guild. Every match you spend joking around and getting kissed by juvenile delinquents instead of kicking stars' asses further blemishes your considerable talent.
That would be Mr. James E. Cornette. Because he does not like the Elite.
And I absolutely agree with him because, even before reading that, I say this to Travis and our buddy Matt Romans every time. I'm like, you know what the worst part of your favorite wrestler going to the other company is? Every time you see him on TV, he's with your 2 least favorite people in that company, not named Cody Rhodes. And every time I see him, even if he's in a singles match, every time they do that stupid camel clutch, double drop kick, kiss his face. I said this before, he is the Roddy Strong of the Elite. And I think he's even lower than that now. If the Elite had a 5th member behind the scenes that we didn't know about, he's that. Because all he is basically Buddy Jack Roberts now, teaming with Michael Hayes and Terry Gordy or Michael Hayes and Jimmy Garvin. He is not the same guy. And I try to be patient. I try to think, all right, well, maybe he's going to, break out and do this, that, and the other thing. But I think all the momentum he had coming in there.
He will, but it's got to.
He's just another cog in the wheel now.
No, he will. He will break away.
I hope, man.
It's one of those things that you got.
Disappointing to me.
No, I get you. I understand. I think if people seen Adam Cole in Ring of Honor, was the world champion, and he was actually a little bit better in Ring of Honor with the Bullet Club stuff and hanging out with the Young Bucks. He was very strong there, but of course, You know him in the NXT years with the Undisputed Era being the full-fledged leader and having those promos and kick-ass matches. I get you. And then he comes back, and some people like yourself, I kind of half agree with it. He looks like he took a step back. He's having fun. He's with his girlfriend. Yeah. So, and he's getting paid.
I hope he signed like a 2-year deal.
No, 3. Tony Khan does 3-year deals. So he's there for the duration.
That's depressing. Yeah.
Well, now since you're depressed, let me undepress you, if that's a word. And we're gonna go back to the movies. And we're gonna go back to the movies and talk about the greatest Hulk Hogan. No, it ain't even the greatest Hulk Hogan movie ever, because TW, let me ask you this question here. Hulk Hogan gives us a lot of good material for going to the movies for the PWR podcast.
Yes.
So, I'm not going to do every Hulk Hogan movie reflection. Some movies, I'm not going to force TW to pay $6 to rent, because I wouldn't want to punish him like that. I feel guilty that I had him rent this for $6. I feel like I have to pay him $6. I'll mail you the check. Don't worry about it, TW. I will pay you the $6 because you rented this or you bought this. But anyway, let's start with this before we even talk about certain parts in the movies. Did you know that this movie not only came out in October of 1991, but this movie was not even written for Hulk Hogan? This was produced by New Line Cinema. Do you know who this movie was written for?
To be the Suburban Commando?
Yes.
I would think Arnold Schwarzenegger, if anything, to be a spoof on Commando.
Ding, ding. You got it. Absolutely. This movie was actually written for Arnold Schwarzenegger, and the part for Christopher Lloyd was going to be written for Danny DeVito. Because of the success of Twins that came out in, what was it, 88 or 89? I forget which year.
Very good. It probably doesn't hold up now, but when I saw it in the first time, I liked it.
Right. But because of that success of being that buddy comedy that Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito showed in Twins, they figured that they can, make Suburban Commando, a movie blockbuster, so to speak. They didn't want to do it. And God bless them that they didn't. That they had the agents to tell them this.
But somehow they still did Junior.
Junior was okay, I think, but
I don't know if it's any worse or better than Suburban Commando.
Okay, now we're talking. I didn't say it was good. I'm just saying it was better than Suburban. It probably is better than Suburban Commando. But Rich Nice, that's your kind of debate for another day. But anyway, Hulk Hogan is given the opportunity. After, let's just say, a cult classic, No Holds Barred. I'm not saying it's a blockbuster, TW, because, of course, when it came out in 89, remember, in 89, No Holds Barred was going up against Batman. It was going up against UHF. It was going up against a lot of blockbuster movies. And, of course, No Holds Barred was not even in the top 10 of blockbusters. But it was an okay movie enough. So this way. And, of course, Hulk Hogan got the itch to go to Hollywood. So, of course, he's getting older. It's in the 90s. Hulkamania is waning down. So he's thinking about the future and the next step, TW. So, of course, Hollywood is the next level for Hulk Hogan's, popularity or so to speak. But TW, let's just say this, 1991. We're not talking about what's happening in the movie because we'll get into that. But think about it this way logistically. Hulkamania is waning down. You and I are getting older. We're in our teen years. So he's not as popular in our eyes as he was in the mid-'80s, saying your prayers, eating your vitamins, believing in yourself. It doesn't register with us. We're not invested in that. So that's problem number one. Problem number two in 1991, what was going on for WWF? What was going on for Hulk Hogan in terms of scandals? Steroids.
Was that 93?
No, that was the trial. Now, in 91... He was he was doing the publicity tour. He was doing his PR.
This is after he lost the belt to Yoko, right? Because he won it from Slaughter at WrestleMania.
No, that was 93. In 91, he beat Slaughter in WrestleMania 7 and lost it to the... No,
that's what I'm talking about. Now. Suburban Commando was right when that... Because 91, I was in high school. The Persian Gulf War was on. That's when they had Slaughter turn and join.
He beat Slaughter in WrestleMania 7 and lost it to the Undertaker in Survivor Series 91. So that
second greatest match of all time happened at WrestleMania in 1991.
Of course. Warrior Savage.
Yes.
Warriors? Of course. I know you too well. I know you for many years. But anyway, number 2, like I said, 91, it was the scandal, the steroid scandals. He was on Arsenio Hall trying to play damage control for what he admitted to, saying he took steroids when he was injured and all that stuff. So, and then number 3, the problem with this movie, 1 was the popularity waning, 2 was the steroid scandal, and 3, let's be real here. This script needed to be rewritten. This script sucked. This movie, if he did this in 86, like we always say, probably would have been passable for the kids. But we're older. So this script sucks even for us to even say, Hulk Hogan, we're a fan of Hulk Hogan. We shouldn't even pay money to go to a movie theater to see this. What say you, TW, about the problems of Hulk Hogan even doing this movie with all that stuff?
I can't help but think, like, when he's making all these movies, because this isn't the worst of them. The Suburban Commando, like,
it's passable.
I was pleasantly surprised when it started that it looked like it was trying to be serious, but immediately you knew it was a comedy, like right after that, right? But people die in the opening scene. One guy ends up not being dead, but he turns into this is a made-for-TV-esque movie if there ever was one, right? However, it's not the worst of it. You also have, is it Mr. Nanny? Is that the one where he's in the tutu and all that? That movie, the fake Baywatch is cheese. He makes all these poor choices, and no holds barred. The biggest problem with it is it's trying to be serious when if you would have went at it with the same outlook as Suburban Commando and made it funny, it might have been better. But because it's trying to be serious, and I always feel like a wrestling movie where they try to portray wrestling as real, as much as I hate when they expose the business, when they try to say it's real, it's like boxing real. You're already insulting people, right? Like people that are going to go to the movies, not kids. Whereas Body Slam, where Piper and Tonga Kid, they make it real. They make it feel like we are buddies outside the ring, but why would you do that to me? And that's why we're fighting in the ring. So it looks more like they're fighting for competition, not for the feuds that are really, happening, whatever. So when you look back on it, you realize why Hulk Hogan never blew up to be what The Rock is. The problem is The Rock made the Tooth Fairy. He made the Program or whatever that other one.
He did the football movie. I remember what you're talking about.
He made these movies that easily could put him in the same hole that Hogan got in, but there's one big difference. Guess who made those movies The Rock was in? Disney. So it's almost like if Disney makes it, it's a success, no matter how corny or cheesy it is, because the Tooth Fairy is hard to watch. I own it. And it's hard to watch. I thought I would watch with my kids, thinking I'd get them into the wrestling and all that at the same time. It's as bad as Goon, and I love hockey, right? They're two of the most unwatchable. Goon's not unwatchable, but it's cheesy, right? It's no Slapshot, Youngblood, or Mystery Alaska, or But Hogan, he's in these New Line Cinema, and I want to say, like as you were talking earlier, you keep saying New Line Cinema. I don't even know if you said it. I'm just thinking, yeah, you did say New Line Cinema. I'm thinking, oh, this is a low-budget company. But no, that's Freddie. Freddie was New Line Cinema. Of
course.
New Line was not a low-budget thing. But I think because every single time you see a Hogan movie, you see New Line Cinema. House Party is New Line Cinema. House Party 1, 2, and 3. I think Hogan set them back years with these movies. Not necessarily Hogan's fault, but these movies made with Hogan
it's the script that's bad.
You're just like, it's kind of like, what movie is it? Nicolas Cage made a movie, I believe, called Bullet. Is that one? Remember when they were going through the 3D phase where every movie's like, oh, it's got 3D, right? And you got to pay extra for the glasses. Thankfully, that's over. 2 movies I saw with 3D glasses, Avatar and Thor. Avatar made sense. Thor, the only thing in 3D was the credits before and after the movie where the color came at you. Other than that, there's maybe one time where the hammer comes your way or whatever, but it's dumb. Oh, and then the Jim Carrey Christmas movie, that's a cartoon, the Disney Christmas Carol. That's cool because you feel like it's snowing around you. However, Bullet was the movie that they used to expose Hollywood yet again. The movie was shelved. It was so bad they weren't gonna even release it. And then that 3D craze came out, and someone was like, "Well, hey, it's called Bullet. What if we make all the bullet shots 3D?" They didn't record it in 3D, so they had to go back and do it. So that the things and
so it catches on the 3D.
It. Right. So then they release it as that, and everyone leaves there going, "This is horseshit. Like that was a terrible movie." And but a couple times a bullet looked like it was coming through the screen. So what we have here in New Line is they probably knew that movie was terrible. They probably knew it was, something. No kidding. Arnold turned it down to Vito. And then you get Christopher Lloyd and Hogan. They're like, but these are two names. And then Christopher Lloyd's boss is in House Party. He's, I think he's in House Party, but he's in a ton of stuff where he's just Larry something. He's always on
Larry Miller.
Show too. Larry Miller. He's hilarious, but he's on stuff like Mama's Family. He's on TBS shows or whatever, UPN, whatever. But he was in
Nutty Professor.
They're just right, and they're just unapologetically taking advantage of people who are only going to come to the movies to see a movie because Hulk Hogan's in it. And what happens? His movies just get progressively worse, and like even wait,
TW, think about it this way, especially with Suburban Commando. It cost $11 million to make, and it made $8 million total.
Well, it just made 9 more.
You had contributed to the $8 million.
And it's so terribly done. Like the opening scene doesn't even look like it would cost $11 million. I think you and I could make it at the library.
All right, think about it like this, since we're going to talk about a little bit of the movie. The graphics of the movie made Spaceballs look like Star Wars prequels. That's how bad it was.
Spaceballs is good, by the way.
No, I'm not dissing Spaceballs. I'm just saying the graphics of Spaceballs is 10 times better than Suburban Commando. And Spaceball came out in 86 or 87. That's how bad these graphics were. These look like it was lumped in claymation. Like I was expecting the California Raisins to be in the ship. That's how bad it was.
The video game, Afterburner.
Yes, and you remember you was talking about like, well, we went from 8-bit to 16-bit. This movie went from 8-bit to 4 bits because it went backwards. I mean, look at it from the standpoint in the beginning.
I wonder if 8 million of the 11 million was Hogan's salary.
That is a good question. No, it didn't go to Hogan. It went to Linda because she had the shopping to do. So that's where the money went. Linda took about 70% of that money, but. Let's talk about at least the bad graphics and the bad spaceship. That's the thing. Like, again, I have to go back to Spaceballs because Reflection Night, Spaceballs, that ship looked good. You knew it was a fake background. You knew it was like CGI, even though it wasn't called CGI, it was green screens. But in comparison to Suburban Commando, the ships that they had in the beginning credits were piss poor. This was like TW said, this was something like you would watch on Cinemax at 12 midnight or USA Network or TBS at midnight. These are bad made-for-TV movie CGI or green screen backgrounds here, TW. So let's say about the beginning.
Hope to get on TV. This ain't even,
yes.
TV didn't even sign us up. They made it hoping TV would air it.
I know, but TW, the beginning is that Hulk Hogan is an intergalactic freedom fighter. His name is, get ready for this, TW. Well, you already know because you paid for it. Shep Ramsey. What a name. Do you think Hulk Hogan said, he was in the boardrooms, right? In the New Line Cinema boardrooms. He always said this to Vince McMahon. He always said this to Eric Bischoff. That doesn't work for me, brother. How the hell does Shep Ramsey work for him, brother, there, TW? Could you pick a better name?
It's terrible. Like alliteration is key. Why wouldn't it be Shep O'Sullivan or Roddy Ramsey or just and Shep sounds like they want to call him Ship, but call him Shep instead. It's poor. Like, and no one questioned any of it. You're like, come on. Like it's bad enough. And the outfit that he's walking on the street, like he's got like the G-string on the outside, and you're just like, and everyone's then they got a fake slick there, which would have been awesome if they would have got the real slick there. He goes, "Oh, you don't shop off the rack much, do you? And I'm just like, wow. It's just downhill from there with the cheesy one-liners. And when he comes in and plays that video game, they go, you beat the game. And he's like, what game? Like he really thought he's in this building looking out a screen into space or something. It's just terrible. There's only one thing, and we'll save it for later because it's towards the end. There's only one thing about this movie that should pop you. And it popped me because I didn't see it coming. I remember thinking to myself, okay, they probably purposely aren't letting these guys talk the entire movie to protect the gimmick, right? And then...
Oh, no. Yeah, wait, save that because I got to introduce him and all that stuff. But let's get back into the beginning with the bad thing that Shep Ramsey, the intergalactic freedom fighter, he's protecting the universe. He has got to go onto the ship that is owned and operated by General Suitor. That is the main antagonist in this movie who wants to rule the universe, rule the world, or whatever the case may be. And Shep Ramsey, beats up everybody. He blasts his way into the ship. He blasts all the minions and all that stuff, TW. So like you said, there is deaths in this movie. For a comedy, there's a lot of deaths. This is not like Action Jackson.
He's there to save the guy.
Yeah.
And the thing, and doesn't.
He doesn't, yeah. He slips up. This is what happens, and this is the moniker for this movie. He blows up the ship. He kills all the minions, and also he couldn't save the prime minister. I forgot the name of the prime minister, but neither here nor there. It's not an important thing, Reflectionites. So, the people that Shep Ramsey reports to actually are telling him, you know what? This job has been stressful to you. You've been doing job after job after job. He's been saving the world, TW, and they order him to take a vacation, which he refuses at first until he fucks up his own spaceship. Is that original, TW?
I'm punching it.
Yeah, in Star Wars or Spaceballs, well, let's go with Spaceballs. They save the princess, but they run out of gas. So they have to land on the planet. That makes actual sense.
Right.
But Shep Ramsey messes up his own ship, and he has to take a vacation. You could.
And his steering wheel looks like a Simon Says game. The little, the three,
oh yes,
the four
it does.
Colors. And the whole time, I'm like, man, this. If you'd have told me before I watched it, it was $11 million. Yeah, my checklist is at like $379 plus Hogan's salary. That's what they spent on this movie.
Yeah, I mean, the ship inside looks horrible. It looks like you go into the photo booth and then you add all the little things. You add the Simon Says steering wheels. You add the little buttons for flashing and all that stuff. It was a bad, like I said, $11 million, but they didn't make the ship look futuristic. Nothing looked futuristic in this
or
movie.
Metal. It looked like styrofoam, like he was in a human-sized igloo, or
that too.
The little white cooler that you get at the dollar store to put your beer and stuff in.
Yeah,
they sprayed it gray.
But a lot of holes in this movie, so we're gonna have to, he messes up his own ship to take a vacation.
Fun fact.
What's that?
Shooter in the beginning of the movie when they're not up close on him, and I'm laying in my bed sick, dying of either AIDS or COVID, and I'm watching it. I thought the Suitor was the bad guy from No Holds Barred. And I'm like, does this guy learn? I'm like, he takes the Nasty Boys with him everywhere. He's going to take this guy in every movie. And then they show him close. I'm like, oh, it's not him. I'm like, well, that makes it worse because he sounds and looks like him, and it's not him. It's like they couldn't even get that guy to be in this movie. Like, who is this dude?
I forgot who it was. I think
he ain't never been in another movie. He's probably one of the guys that helped pay to make the movie and lost his ass.
Mm-hmm. But it wasn't the No Holds Barred villain. I forgot his name, but neither here nor there, Reflectionites. But, now we get into the crust of this movie where Hulk Hogan is forced, or Shep Ramsey is forced to take a vacation. And, since his ship is fucked up, he's got to go to the nearest planet. And, of course, lo and behold, TW, what is the nearest planet to him? But, of course, planet
Our
Earth.
shitty planet.
Our shitty planet. And there is one hole because he says, I hate Earthlings. So he's already prejudging people. He's already got stereotypes. But you actually said this before we even, started. You said certain things that Hulk Hogan did. So we can at least talk about it because, of course, Reflectionites, we go front to back. We go side to side with all the stuff that happens.
Front to back? Yeah.
No, I do I do circulars. I do this way, and then I go that way, and then
with the thumb inside.
What?
Sit and spin.
Get a little pop.
That's disgusting.
Yes,
it's gross.
It tastes like Hershey's Kisses, but neither here nor there.
Good Lord, he's doubling down, boys and girls. That's disgusting.
Neither here nor there. But logistically, TW, I had a problem when he said, "I hate Earthlings." He already has a preconceived notion about Earthlings, but then once he gets on planet Earth,
everything's new.
Like everything's new to him. Isn't that a problem? Because if you hate Earthlings, you should already know what they're about and the customs and everything that he doesn't like or doesn't understand to begin with.
Like when he wants to fight those dudes and they said, "No, man, it's the 90s. We're going to sue you." And he's like, "Oh, what kind of place is this?" That's the kind of place you would say, "I hate Earthlings." Not let's fight like men, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, yeah. And for me, the first couple times he said Earthlings, I wasn't sure he said Earthlings. I was like, is he calling them Earthins? What's he call them? And then finally says Earthlings, or that's why I hate Earthlings, or whatever. I want to know something. He lands, he crashes. A, how does he know it's an abandoned building to crash? Or B, how lucky that he crashed over an abandoned building, because that's what it looks like. It just falls from the sky, and then he looks around like, am I okay? And then he walks. He can read English. He walks to the apartment that Chris Lloyd doesn't even know exists yet, because it's this tool shed. And a tool shed that can be turned into an apartment, that's kind of also weird. And where does he get the money to pay for it?
I have no idea. Again, a lot of holes.
Just eats dinner with them and holds their kids up in the air like, "Are these yours?" It's just, it's like
bad
a lot
writing.
Of fast forward and suspension of reality or disbelief.
Absolutely. So Reflection Nights, of course, he lands on Earth again. He's in his full intergalactic freedom fighter uniform. So of course it's Earth. Everybody has seen everything. Nothing surprises them. So they thought he was a reject from the Village People or something. So that's why people were like laughing at him for his outfit. But they took things from certain other movies. So the part where, he saves the dog from heat exhaustion, they did the Terminator. He looked at a dude at the restaurant eating, but of course they did the Terminator scene where, "I need your clothes." And that was the switch off. So you get that one part. Now we could go back to General Suter, because we'll talk about this later. It was played by William Ball. That was the man who played General Suter. But he turns into an alien. So they actually took, remnants of aliens or Predator, because the way he looked at the end kind of reminds you of the Predator, an ugly green.
Or V.
Oh, that too. Well, I don't know if it was like V. It was like a big 7-foot alien. So he was so monstrous and all that stuff. So you can see that they take little increments from other movies. That makes it not original for this particular movie. But of course, Hulk Hogan needs somebody to bounce off of. And now, TW, let's get into this little debate or a little question here. What did you think of the comedy tag team duo of himself and Christopher Lloyd, who plays Charlie Wilcox? A down on his luck man who has a dead-end job at an architecture firm. He is being taken advantage of by his boss, played by Larry Miller. He has problems with a stop sign. He has problems with neighbors next door who are like NASCAR owners or whatever, because the whole street, hillbillies,
white trash.
It's white trash, but it's California, man. So the white trash had enough money to live in a house in the suburbs. But anyway, so he has problems with hillbillies who are NASCAR crazy, because the whole street is full of NASCAR racing cars. He has a problem with some teenage revers who almost kill his son. He has problem, he literally has problems. He's the word for mental deficiency.
Isn't
mental
he
disease.
the guy in It's a Wonderful Life? His life just sucks. That's him. And then his wife seduces him, and he shoots her down, and she pulls her wig off. That was weird.
The wife is
who's, by the way, Olive Oil and Popeye with Rob Williams.
And of course, she played the wife of Jack Nicholson in The Shining, Shelley Duvall, TW.
Oh, yeah, that is her. Holy smokes.
So they got Christopher Lloyd to play the part of Danny DeVito. So, if this movie had Danny DeVito in it, I wouldn't believe Danny DeVito being taken advantage of because of his characters like in Taxi, his character, like in Twins, being like the hustler, being the con artist. Christopher Lloyd, I actually think they cast it right as being the doofus or the one being bullied on, the victim.
The straight man.
The straight man. What say you, TW, about casting Christopher Lloyd as the straight man victim here?
He is the straight man, and that's, I was going to say, because I thought you were leading up to ask me what I thought of him as a team. The problem is you have the Abbott and Costello formula, Laurel and Hardy, right? Well, Laurel and Hardy's a little different because Laurel's silly and Hardy's serious, whereas Abbott and Costello is one's serious and one's funny. So you have the Costello and Lloyd, who's serious, but he's not upset with Hogan for being funny, but probably because Hogan isn't funny. So it's just like, it's a straight man and another dude, because they didn't work well together. They like, there's a little heartfelt moment at the end, but that's, whatever. It gets better as it goes along as far as their relationship goes, but the whole, like, more holes, A, nobody locks their doors apparently in 1991, and B, if Hulk Hogan was as big as he was and he was as scared as he was when he opened that door, the last thing he's doing is going snooping in Hulk Hogan's house and finding that photon gun and blowing up the dude's dragster or whatever. And they didn't trace it back to the big hole in his garage to see where the shot came from. Just lots of
questions. There's questionable stuff.
I don't think a lot of the $11 million went to the writers either. So.
Again, it went to Linda Hogan. That's what it did. But anyway, a lot of faux pas in this movie here. So, let's talk about, again, little certain parts here, little tidbits that you kind of actually talked about a little bit. Hulk Hogan is adjusting to being on Earth for 6 weeks while he is recharging his ship, because it has to be charged at 0.1% so it doesn't get traced by General Suter's cronies out in outer space. So he has to adapt. He has to conform. This is now like Coneheads. He has to be the alien from France. Did you get that part? He's the alien from France. Again, a Coneheads reference. Now he's adjusting to suburban life. So, he is interacting with Christopher Lloyd's kids. He is he's interacting with the kids from the neighborhood. The first time, he sees the kids riding on skateboards, TW, and of course, it had to be the funny moment. But Hogan wasn't trying to be funny. He wanted to ride the skateboard, and he fell on his ass. So it was one of those little, examples of how unfunny that scene was, because, like you said, he was playing even a straight man, because, he had no comedic timing. His facials was not funny and all that stuff. Agree, disagree, have a different take.
I think that's their attempt at him being funny, is that he's taking the bumps and he's taking all the
but wait, hold your thought. Let me ask you this way, because you said No Holds Barred was serious, but at least there were funny moments where he said, "What's that smell?" And there was writing to say Dookie. There was all that stuff. Here, he almost had to try to make certain lines funny, and that's not Hogan's forte. That's the way I looked at it. That's where he needed acting lessons. He needed to go to acting school and all that stuff. That's one of the little holes in this movie for me. So while he is charging up the spaceship, Reflectionites, because again, if it goes above 0.1%, the General Suter's cronies are out there. And speaking of General Suter's cronies, there is a cameo appearance by one of the bounty hunters. I don't remember the other guy's name. His name was Knuckles, but I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about a certain future WWE Hall of Famer. He will be a WWE Hall of Famer in WrestleMania 2022 of Reflectionites, and his name is The Undertaker, but his real name is Mark Calloway. So TW, this is actually a coup for him, because, again, not a lot of people know him except for being The Undertaker if you're just watching WWF TV. So right now, you don't see him with the makeup. You don't see him in his Undertaker uniform. So this is actually a nice separate, entity for him to be in this movie. And again, he didn't have no speaking lines except for at the end. And if you want to talk about it, go ahead, TW. But The Undertaker got his feet wet in Hollywood. And I guess after this movie, he said, that don't work for me, brother. And we've never really seen Undertaker do Hollywood stuff except for the Netflix he did with The New Day and calling in the, what's it called? Escape from the Undertaker.
But that's post protecting the gimmick. And I think that's why he did it, because they didn't have him talk, but then they had him talk at the end. And I wouldn't be surprised if in the movie he talked normal and they did post-production and didn't tell him that they were going to give him that little kid voice. Mm-hmm. I'm going to get you, Hulk Hogan. And then Hogan looks at the camera and goes, so that's why you guys don't talk. But the funny thing is, the other guy, I'm watching it going, I wonder how many people think that dude's one of the Nasty Boys. Well, do you know who that other guy is?
His movie character name is Knuckles. I forget his name.
You know who the guy is that played Knuckles?
I don't know who he is.
He's from First and 10. Remember First and 10 with OJ?
Oh, he was one of the, was he the linebacker or offensive?
Yeah.
Was the offensive lineman? Yeah.
He was in every season of it. Tony is his name. Mm-hmm. And he was Tony on the show. When I was a kid, I thought that was real. Like you know, eventually NFL had like boot camp or whatever that football show is, not Hard Knocks, where they follow the football teams in there.
Yeah, First and 10 looked real.
First and 10, right. I thought First and 10 was really a football team, just it wasn't NFL. And the dude's name was Tony, and in real life his name was Tony. I don't remember what OJ's name was on the show, but I think OJ was like, he was a coach or a
no, he was a running back first, then got injured, and then turned into either a coach or executive.
Okay, so in the beginning he was a player, but when I started watching, he was already not a player. It's got Ogre from Revenge of the Nerds in that show, and then just all the different people. But when I saw him, I'm like, that's awesome. And the whole movie, I'm waiting for Undertaker to talk. But the thing is, that's 91. That's when he came there. He like a year early, 1990 Survivor Series is where Undertaker come there. So you know this is filmed right after that to come out in October of 91. So I think Vince, and I don't know if they knew the Undertaker gimmick was going to last 30 years, but 31. Well, no, because he retired last year. But he, it's amazing that.
You think the studio they had to change? Maybe if they had speaking lines for these two guys as bounty hunters.
Yes. And then Vince probably was like, oh, but it'd be great if he just does this one line and he's got a little kid's voice, you know, like that to me felt like they were protecting his gimmick or hoping
that's
no one realized it was The Undertaker, because then he never did anything else. And I'm pretty sure I read interviews where they asked him why he never did Hollywood, and his reason was in some way he said protecting the gimmick. He didn't want, I think Attitude Era, he could have done it because by then he's just the biker anyway. But that run from 90 to whenever he stopped being gothic like that, I think, it would have hurt the gimmick if he would have been in a movie cracking jokes and, you know, I'm here to chew bubblegum and kick ass and I'm all out of bubblegum. If he would have done stuff like that, it would have made him not. Piper can do it. Hogan can do it. Rock Austin, they can do it. Taker as Taker, with where Undertaker comes out and Paul Bearer does all the talking, it would kill the gimmick. You would either have to do your best to make people not realize it's him, which then what's the point of having him in there? You're putting him in there so people will come see him in a movie. And so I think it was done to protect his mystique and all that, and that's why I think they didn't talk. And the whole time I'm waiting for him to talk, and then I'm like, well, Tony's going to talk. Even Tony never talked.
No, he didn't. They had,
and he dies. The Undertaker kills him with the elevator.
Yeah, to be fair here, I think these two guys, Knuckles and Undertaker's character, I don't remember the name that they gave him here, but I remember Tony's name was Knuckles. H?
Yeah, like Hurst or Hunter or something like that. It wasn't Hunter because I would have remembered Hunter, but
if they name Hogan Shep, I'll call him Hemp. They call Undertaker Hemp. But anyway, Hemp and Knuckles actually were the best. You want to talk about a comedy tag team duo like we're asking about Hogan and Christopher Lloyd? Undertaker and Tony, or AKA Knuckles, had a better chemistry and better.
His name was Hutch.
Oh, Hutch and Knuckles.
Yeah.
So Hutch and Knuckles had better comedy tag team chemistry than Hogan and Lloyd, in my humble opinion, because all they had to do is look at each other, and it was, I'm not saying it was hysterical, But I'm thinking, but for the movie purposes,
where was it at where they looked at each other, lady with the frozen dog, and they were like, "What the hell?" No, because they froze everybody.
They were at the bank.
No, the bank robbery. And then they shot. Why were they going to do a drive-through? And then shot that was an ode to Jim Cornette, I think. I just read bad news, man. June 21st, 2015, Knuckles died in real life. I didn't even know he was dead. He was only 53 years old.
Rest in peace, Knuckles. He did some good movies. Tony Longo. He was in The Eraser. What was it? The Eraser with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was one of those mob goons. Oh, so yeah. I remember him from there. So it's funny that him and Knuckles and Hutch had better chemistry and in this movie without saying anything. And of course, like you said, Undertaker had the voice of a 5-year-old. So I guess that was the biggest payoff of this movie, where you can hear him speak like a kid. But going back into why Knuckles and Hutch come down to earth, we have to at least go back, TW, and talk about Christopher Lloyd, because he is impetuous. He is curious about Shep because he's from France. And, the funny thing is, like you said, Shep is renting an apartment, but I didn't see no money. I didn't see no diamonds. I saw no currency that he paid, Christopher Lloyd's family for that 1-bedroom apartment that was converted from a tool shed, TW, and ate their food. So TW, there's another logistical hole there. In certain movies, you remember Coneheads, when Michael Richards said, "How are you going to pay for the room?" They at least, raided a soda machine and said, "We're playing with these cinder discs." Hogan didn't do any of that. He didn't take the money from the Coke machine and say, "I'm paying my apartment with this." He didn't do any of that. So, but anyway, Christopher Lloyd was curious about where Shep Ramsey was from and what he was all about. So he got curious, and like you said, the photon gun was under the bed, and he turned it on, and that triggered the trace, Reflectionites, for the bounty hunters, Hutch and Knuckles, to at least know that Hulk Hogan was located on planet Earth, but they didn't have a pinpoint location. Then we have to fast forward a little bit, TW, where Christopher Lloyd follows Hulk Hogan to that abandoned dance club. I don't know how it was an abandoned disco club. You heard horrible music.
That was roller skating. Right?
Oh, okay. It was a roller skating rink / disco club with horrible music. But anyway, Christopher Lloyd finds the ship that Hogan was in, and then he steals the suits. The ship should at least lock. It should have been sensory, it should have had a sensory alarm. It should only recognize Hulk Hogan's body weight and mass. This is the future, TW. This is what it's supposed to be. But Christopher Lloyd could put on the uniform. He could adapt to the gloves and all that stuff. And of course, with him using Hulk Hogan's body armor, it triggers the trace full on to know where Hulk Hogan is located, TW. I call it a logistical faux pas. What say you, TW, about that?
First of all, Hogan found out way too soon that, did you follow me to my room? Why would he be your first guest, right? Well, other than he found the camera lens broke there. But first of all, why would he know that's a broken camera lens? It's just a little piece of plastic or whatever. Its legs out there. It was actually the freezer gun. It was the photon gun under bed first gave him the go to Earth. And then the freezer gun is what got him locked in because those guys went and used it. That's why they came to the bank. So that stuff made sense. But Hogan knowing what was going on and it was all your fault and guilting him into helping out. That was actually the one funny part where Christopher Lloyd goes, I housed you, maybe stop the occasional bank robbery, but being a target for Suburban Bounty Hunter or
Inter-galactic.
That's not my pay grade or whatever he said. That was the one where Lloyd opens up and is like, no, I'm not doing it. And you're just like, man, this is after he's Doc. And he looks younger. Just like, he actually looks haggard. He looks beat up or whatever. But
again, Reflectionites, this movie took from a lot. There was a scene that it took from the Terminator was stolen from. We already talked about that. There was a scene where they stole from the Coneheads, or the thought process of the Coneheads, where Hogan's from France. But also, TW, there was a movie back in the 80s with John Ritter and James Belushi called Real Men. Yep. And the buddy system of this comedy, especially with Christopher Lloyd's character, actually, they took from that because Christopher Lloyd is passive aggressive. Christopher Lloyd is the victim, again, being taken advantage of. And Real Men Reflection, I should Google that. John Ritter played that kind of wimp. He played that victim, and it took being with James Belushi, being in the FBI, and of course, there was a lot of killings and gunfire and all that stuff. But it built up John Ritter's character to be tough, be brave. And in this movie, they stole from Real Men, TW, where Christopher Lloyd, being associated with Shep Ramsey, thwarting bank robbers, thwarting the two men that was about to gang rape a woman and all that stuff. And of course, being involved with Hutch and Knuckles and General Suter at the end, it builds up Christopher Lloyd's confidence and to not be afraid of anything. So what say you?
They also stole from the Wizard of Oz.
How they steal from the Wizard of Oz?
Because when Hutch clicks his heels together, the jet rockets come on and he goes flying.
You know what? That's actually true. Yes, a lot of things are being stolen in this movie. This is not an original movie for 1991 to purposes, Reflectionites. So there's my logistical problems here, TW. So the evolution of Christopher Lloyd's character, he's the victim in the beginning, and then he builds up the confidence, he builds up the courage and all that stuff, TW. I guess that teaches people a lesson. I guess, it teaches people, to believe in yourself. Never too late
to change.
Never too late to change. And of course, TW. Oh, and the funny thing about this movie, again, out of all the things where Hulk Hogan, has got to recharge and get off of Earth now to get away from the bounty hunters and General Suter and all that stuff. There's actually something on Earth that is very valuable to Hulk Hogan that he didn't even know existed. Sibian crystals that are located in the office building of Larry Miller's character, TW. Out of everything, every planet that Hulk Hogan's been on, going around the world, going around the universe to stop aliens, to stop, planet invasions and all that, he has to come to Earth because they got the right crystals for his ship. Does that sound convenient or what?
Very. like the thought to us supposed to be, it's almost like they're planting Easter eggs for future movies, like they think this is going to be a success because there's a lot of things they don't tie up at the end, right? Mm-hmm. For one, crystals, him to need it for his ship means they came from somewhere else. So now there's something nefarious about these trophies, so we don't know why he's got these trophies that are made out of this stuff that run spaceships from other galaxies. So that's left open. In the beginning, Christopher Lloyd's going in. The very first scene, he's going in to ask for a raise because he's worked all weekend long or whatever. And his wife's like, you're going to do it, and we're going to do this. That's why she made the apartment for rent. And in the end, he does it. He does it in front of the Japanese people. So then he just walks out of there, and you're like, well, wait a minute. These guys should be like, we want you and hire him, so it's a happy ending. There's no end. And at the very least, Hogan leaves. Yes, he gives him his goodbye, but it should have ended with Hogan wanting to stay there. Like, I'm done being a bounty hunter. I'm going to stay here because he saved the universe. Now he's just going to stay here and be the family guy. But then they make that, by the way, another loose end. The secretary gone out on them to break up their fight, then pulls the gun out when they're trying to take the quartz. And it's almost like they're implying she's a bad guy. Like, no, you're not taking those quartz. And
she's not a bad guy. She's a badass.
And then she's a hoe on a ship just ready to leave Earth and go fly off into space for educational purposes, of course. And it's just so many things that so is the sequel going to be the two of them come back and they got a family? Because he goes, yeah, I'm going to be a family man. They come back and have family. And then we find out that Christopher Lloyd is running the company that he used to be run around by, and that
he quit.
Larry Miller's fired.
He quit.
The Japanese guy. And there's quite a few. Sorry about this sooner. There's quite a few. Can they do that in 2021? There are moments, and no, they can't. Where Larry Miller is making all the Japanese references to those guys, And you're just like, what the fuck? You people are known for stuff like that. And you're just like, yeah, they ain't doing that. And so they ain't remaking Suburban Commando without some rewrites.
No, actually, I actually have to disagree. I think you can say that in 2021. You know why he's protected? Because he has a translator. The other people don't know what he's saying. So the translator is saving Larry Miller from insulting those Japanese businessmen. It can be said.
Another botch.
Okay.
The girl is for the Japanese leader, and then she repeats to Larry Miller something he didn't say, and then the Japanese guy looks at her and goes, "Coward. How would he know what she said? He doesn't speak English."
Well, he's Japanese. He's very smart. He knows every language. He just doesn't want to. He wants to keep you on your toes.
Yeah.
Of course, because again, Japan and China is better than you. Huh?
Did you vote today for the governor?
Yeah, Vulcan.
All right. Hey, man, as long as you didn't vote for the other guy.
I voted for Spock.
I don't know.
Live long and prosper. That's all I'm about right now. That's all it is.
The real Spock.
Yes, the real Spock.
He's dead, right? He's dead in real life.
He died like 20 years ago, I think.
Oh, jeez. I didn't know that. No, that was a movie, man. The Search for Spock. He wasn't really dead.
That's from the 80s.
Meanwhile, Captain Kirk's 100.
And he's a real living
apparently
astronaut.
The founding youth is getting ass because he got it. Probably still getting it right now. Some price line, some ass.
He got younger when he went up to space, so he could actually tell us what's going on up there. He's really Captain Kirk. But anyway, let's get back into this. But we could finish it off. We could put a bow on it. So TW, while they go after the crystals, I guess think about this movie. We call it a comedy, right? We can agree on that. It's a comedy attempt,
right?
But with Hulk Hogan being 6'8", being 295 pounds, just like in No Holds Barred, his first movie, he did a lot of action scenes, punching and throwing people around. He did that in the beginning, and of course, he's fighting the two goons off. There was very limited action sequences for my tasting.
From Taker. He took a clothesline from him, took a bump. My thing is, in the beginning and in the end, everyone's got weapons. No one shoots.
Well, they shoot, but they shoot in the air.
And then Suter's like purposely shooting around him to scare him. But then shoots him in the shoulder and he's dead. And you're just like, come on, man. and how about when Christopher Lloyd takes a shot and then tips over like a transformer, also stolen from a movie, where he's like, oh, okay, I'm going to tell you again, C-3PO. That's actually more of a C-3PO rip. And then he does like a kip-up because the suit takes over and makes him Iron Man. And I'm like, it's just an outfit. It's not a damn armor Iron Man suit. It's just like gadgets. It's like, whatever.
They were trying to be
funny. They tried their hardest to be funny.
Absolutely. It wasn't funny, Reflection. And again, this movie was so bad that even I didn't want to watch it on HBO when it came on 6 months after 1991. But I watched it when I was 6, so I can tell you that. Not 6, I was sick. Stomach flu or the cold. Because when you have nothing on cable, you watch Suburban Commando, and that was a great way. That was your NyQuil
to fall asleep.
Yes. Suburban Commando is your NyQuil when you have trouble sleeping. Sniffling, sneezing, squeeze, whatever that the saying is for NyQuil, that is Suburban Commando. So, TW, let's put this whole at the movies with the Suburban Commando in a bow. Hulk Hogan's. Let me try to question it here. Besides, we know the number one reason he did this movie was money. He got paid handsomely or whatever. Maybe he got $10 million.
So he could get his foot in the door, like he's trying to make it. Obviously money, but
now we know I guess we could go conspiracy theory like Billy Ray Valentine. We know about how Hollywood is. They choose their people. If Hogan refuses to drink the blood of 8-year-old children so he can, become the best actor in the world, you pick your poison, TW. Would you go into door A, or you pick door B with Suburban Commando and just try your luck for success, or you take the blood of children for door A?
Are you saying New Line Cinema's not the Hollywood elite, and that
they have to be Hollywood?
Did choose the 8-year-old's blood to do Disney movies?
Yeah, of course.
He does look younger now than he ever has. So,
well, again, Reflection Nights, allegedly. Let me just say that. So this way we don't get, the Hollywood elites don't come after us. But go ahead, TW.
I live in New Jersey. Bombay.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Bombay. No, it's in Michigan.
That's Dearborn. I think he did it for money. I mean, you're not doing it for free. But I think he did it for one. He probably signed a multiple picture deal with New Line when he did No Holds Barred, and they probably thought, we're good. And then when Schwarzenegger backed out, they're like, hey, Hulk, we need you. We need you to fulfill that second movie on our deal from 4 years ago. Okay.
Yeah, usually you're right.
I actually think this movie weird because I'm a Schwarzenegger guy. I think this movie's better because it's Hogan and Lloyd than it would have been in Schwarzenegger and DeVito because, like you said earlier, DeVito wouldn't have been believable as Lloyd's part, and Schwarzenegger, it would have absolutely felt like he was parodying himself, whereas Hogan, yes, it could look like he's parodying a Schwarzenegger movie, but at the same time, it could be just a different demographic, AEW fans. He's catering to kids, where Schwarzenegger's catering to teenagers and early 20s guys. I think if Schwarzenegger's in this movie, his fan base is thoroughly disappointed, whereas Hogan's, the bar wasn't very high to begin with, so it's not going to hurt him, but it ain't helping him either.
That's a good assessment because, look, Schwarzenegger, Terminator, Conan the Barbarian, Predator, Running Man. Those are great action movies. And then he did the cop movie Raw Deal. Total Recall. I don't know if that came out first or second, but neither here nor there. But you go to if he did Suburban Commando, you're right. That would have hurt Schwarzenegger. That would have been one of those things like you remember when Eddie Murphy was hot and then he did those bad movies and then needed another movie, another hit movie.
Yeah. Vampire in Brooklyn. Yeah.
Right. So that would have been the flop, and then someone would have said, Arnold, you need a movie to rebound.
You need to run for governor.
Yeah, that too.
Off.
So, we come to the close of PWR Goes to the Movies with Suburban Commando, and of course, Hulk Hogan gives us a lot of material to do this TW. I'm not doing Santa with Muscles. I'm not doing Mr. Nanny. I'm not doing
a movie Santa with Muscles. That's a real movie?
Yes. That's Hulk Hogan. I'm not gonna spoil. Well, Christmas is coming, so maybe I might.
We almost have to do it now.
We almost have to do Santa with Muscles.
And B, it's Christmas time.
And of course, he did Three Ninjas, and of course, we already did Thunder in Paradise. He did a lot of TNT Army movies. Well, not 18, but he didn't do Baywatch. He did a Baywatch episode, not Baywatch.
That's what I meant. He did a Baywatch. He did an 18. He did 2 18 episodes, right?
Yes. And we've done the good stuff. Now we have to get to the bad parts. So the Suburban Commando
Muscles. I have to see it now. So either you commit to do it in December and I'll watch it then, or I'm going to watch it soon because it's got to be. It can't be as bad as I think it's going to be.
It's bad.
I like Jingle All the Way though. I like that.
But I wish Hogan did Jingle All the Way. Maybe it would have been more passable. But I guess Reflection Nights, the cat's out of the bag. December, we're going back to the movies. Santa with Muscles. But let's close it out, TW. Give out those socials so we can get out of here.
All righty. We are obviously now part of the Pro Wrestling Coalition Network, and that's the PWC Network at podbean.com. We are also part of the Big Vito brand, bigvitobrand.wixsite.com or patreon.com/the Big Vito brand. Our handle on Twitter is at PW Reflection. We can't do this without Big Ray, who's at Big Ray Hernandez. And then my socials are Tommy Wonder 19 or The Tommy Wonder on Twitter. Also Tommy Wonder 19 on Instagram, Snapchat's Number Wonder, Facebook.com/Tommy Wonder. And then Dum Dum Duel and an Idiot is our YouTube page. And check this out. 2 weeks from, less than 2 weeks from when this will air on the podcast universe, the Dum Dum Duel and Idiot are doing a fundraiser in St. Clair Shores, Michigan at Ireland's Pub on the 18th of November, 2021. And 4-time Stanley Cup champion Kirk Maltby from the Grind Line is going to join us on our video. We're doing a hockey stick with 4 shot glasses, and we're doing a shot at the Pink Whitney as a foursome because he's there for the fundraiser to be the bartender, celebrity bartender. He's done it a few times, and people that know us, know him, set it up. So Kirk Maltby's going to be on our show. And I don't even know if you know who Kirk Maltby is. He got swept by the New Jersey Devils in 96 in the Stanley Cup final. You should know him from that. But then went on to win 4 Stanley Cups. Really, really cool dude, humble guy. He's actually, I don't know if he's a soccer dad now or hockey dad now, but that's how one of our friends knows him, is he coaches her son. So I think it is hockey. But I've seen him when I work in Grosse Pointe, it's real affluent neighborhood. I've seen him walking his kids to and from school. You know, I've never met him. I was supposed to do a service call for him for our van, but I got my board changed and my buddy did it instead. But so I'm looking forward to it. He stole the job from you. That's what it was. It's to celebrate our 200 followers on YouTube, which we have more than that. And I would like to think that some of that is from this show and me mentioning it, and then you mentioning it on there. So if there are any Reflectionites who are also dumb doing idiot subscribers, let us know. I know you and me, and, you know, I know that. I mean, like, you know, I would assume Donna Destruction's one of them, but, you know, if the Gooch is, or if the other, you know, members of the Naughty Nine or the Naughty, hopefully we should be at Naughty 19. We can't waste Naughty at 9. We got a Naughty 19 at Nifty 9.
Of course, Philip Scott Wood, TN Couponer, probably they're dumb duo guys too. They're following. Yeah. They want to see you
and
eat
an
crap.
Idiot. Don't forget, I'm the idiot.
I know you're the idiot, but they want to see you eat crap. So that's what it is. So that's the intrigue of dumb duo and idiot, to see you eat crap, and the girl throws up more than y'all two. So that's what intrigues me. But anyway, you can follow me on my Twitter at PWSOPROF. That's PWSOPROF. And of course, this will be on the PWSO Networks on YouTube. And of course, follow my guys on their Twitters. 8-Track Brown, the king of the reactions at 8-Track Dastin, and of course the man with the documents, the man that already knows who won the elections. He already had it 3 days in advance. Mr. Billy Ray Valentine himself at Obi-Wan You Know Me. Next week, we might go episodic. We might do a rivalries. We might do a spotlight. We're not doing the movies, but we might do something of that nature. But I'll keep you on your toes, Reflectionites. I'll keep you on your toes. And for that, I'm the professor. That's Mr. Wonderful, Mr. Idiot of the Dum Duos, the Iron Stomach One, TW, saying good night and see you later, brother. Give us a send-off, TW. TW,
all right. I just got a text. I don't know if that's from like it's mom.
I was about to blame COVID on that for you, but anyway, you fucked it up with the text. See, you always look on your phone.
No, it caught me off guard. So, but no, I was waiting to just go, brother, as we went. you signed off differently. I was waiting for that so I could just go, brother.
See you later, Reflectionites. I know we suck at this. See ya.